Welcome back to ESBR Boxing's YouTube channel, and I'm delighted to be joined by none other than Sam Antwi ahead of his fight on the 1st of September in Bolton for the British title against Mason Cartwright. Sam, first and foremost, have to ask you, how are you doing? It's been a few months since we last spoke.
Yes, I'm doing great, man. I'm doing great. I've been having these active fights, been under new management as well with Adam Booth and Booth Boxing. They've been keeping me active. We've been in the gym constantly. And yeah, now ready to get this new title under the belt.
Brilliant. You mentioned there quickly about your new management and everything with Booth Boxing. What's that whole experience been like? Do you think it's been a real positive in your career?
100%, 100%. I've never had such professionalism. Everything is kind of like structured. I've gone throughout my whole boxing career just kind of winging it, and now there's a structure. There's anything that needs sorting from the board. People are getting it before I get it. I'm just worrying about fighting, training and fighting. And so I believe it's made a huge difference. Flying in the gym now. I'm more athletic. I'm stronger. I'm sharper. So it's all gonna come out. It's all gonna be seen on September the 1st.
You mentioned September the 1st there. Obviously, you're fighting for the British Super Welterweight title against Mason Cartwright. It's a huge fight. How did this one come about?
So I think it was actually from the start when I first approached Adam about managing. He said we sat down and he said, "Oh, what do I want from him? What do I want to accomplish now?" And I said, I just come off the fight with Echo for the previous in the welterweight for the British. We didn't get a decision, and what I said is I want to be British champion. That's the first thing because I've already started down that path, and 6 months later we're here fighting for the British.
Brilliant. This is obviously, you mentioned, the second time challenging for the British. You mentioned there against Echo Esserman, and that was obviously down at welterweight. What experiences do you think you can draw from the last time to help you this time?
Um, Knowing I can do 12 rounds without a problem. Um, putting my foot, I can now put my foot on the gas here. Push for the finish and push, for the higher gears, which I wasn't doing in that first fight. And I believe I'm a more complete fighter, a more rounded fighter now. If that fight would happen again today, it'll be a complete different outcome. So I know now, and I believe that I'm leaving as champion. There's no way around it. There's no one that's going to stop me now from securing that British title.
Brilliant stuff. And obviously, we mentioned this is at 154 now, 154 pounds. How come? Is it just was it you sitting down with Adam Booth and deciding that this is the way forward? How come you've made the decision to now campaign back at Super Welterweight?
It was an opportunity, to be honest. It was an opportunity. I'm not ruling out completely welterweight, but the opportunities here at 154. We've been sparring in the gyms with super welterweights, with middleweights, and Adam says I can handle myself against them. So the opportunities here. We're taking it with both hands, and yeah, we're not going to rule out welterweight completely, but right now the eyes on the prize for super welterweight British title, and we're going to see where we go from there.
You mentioned there obviously opportunities as well as the fact that you're not ruling out a move back down to welterweight in the future. But do you feel stronger, maybe more powerful? Is there, what positives are there from being up 7 pounds? Obviously, the whole weight making process is made a little bit easier, I'm sure. But just as in terms of performance, do you feel more strong and more powerful?
Yeah, I mean it's closer to my natural weight. I walk around sometimes at 75 kgs. Um, so this is closer to my natural weight, and so obviously I won't be draining myself as much. It's much easier to make this weight, and so that's why I say I don't want to completely rule out welterweight yet, just because I know that I can still make it. But we're growing every day, so we'll be good at this weight. I do feel strong at this weight. We're doing our strength and conditioning. We're doing all the things that we have to do to make sure that at super welterweight I can still boss around in the ring rather than just be there to just be there just because of the opportunity. You want to go in there and make a statement at 154, and if there's more opportunities at welterweight, we're going to take them. If you have to stay at 154, we will.
I suppose it's good to have, to be able to campaign at both and pick up whatever opportunities there is. Looking at your opponent quickly, Sam, obviously Mason Cartwright, he's lost three times. They've come to Darren Tetley, who you obviously beat previously, Danny Ball, and then his last defeat came in a really close fight for the British against Troy Williamson. What do you think he does well and what he brings to the table? Kind of what, obviously you don't want to give a game plan or anything away, but what challenges does he present to you?
Um, one thing I always hear, or that I've kept hearing about him, he's really tough. I know that he's definitely going to come for a fight. But any challenge that he does bring, we'll be prepared for, and we'll put a game plan together to make it as smooth as that as possible.
Did you watch his fight at all with Troy Williamson? Is there anything there that you can see that you can exploit?
No, I don't really like to watch my opponents before a fight, actually. So yeah, I
That's
leave that to the
interesting.
coach stuff. So yeah, the coaches come up with a game plan. I just go in there and do what I want to do, basically. That's how I find it easiest.
Just quickly on that, that's really interesting. I wasn't aware of that. Obviously, a lot of fighters, well, every fighter is different and unique. I suppose a lot of fighters would, study their opponent to the absolute maximum. You saying there that
Yeah.
you don't watch really footage of your opponents at all. Why is that?
Just because I found that previously when I did, I would go in there. I'm very analytical, so I go in there and expect this to happen. But no one ever fights the same way twice. Obviously they'll have their patterns that they might be drilled in, or they'll have some habits that might be drilled in. But each fight is different for each person. Who he's never fought me before. I've never fought him before, so I'm not gonna go in there and expect or watch a video and think, okay, this is gonna come, because in the end, you have to get in the ring and adapt. And I'm good at getting in the ring and adapting to my opponent. So, I find it more to my liking if I go in there just free mind and go with the flow.
Yeah, it makes sense. Absolutely, fair play to you. Cartwright, like you, fought for the British title before, obviously, and has lost for the British title. So he too, like yourself, will be desperate to win the British title, having tasted defeat for the British title before. What do you need to do to make sure it's you that's victorious? Because he'll be obviously game is to come, and he'll be desperate to win that Lonsdale belt as well.
I've just got to fight my fight, not fall into any silly traps, or yeah, I just got to fight my fight, make sure it's on my terms the whole or for however long it does last, and we're making sure that we get it done before the final bell.
Interesting. So is that my am I hearing you're going in there for the knockout then?
We're going in there to make sure that we don't see the final bell.
Brilliant. Do you feel like you're better prepared for the British title fight this time than you were when you fought Echo? Just in the sense that you've done it before, you can draw on those experience. Plus, as you mentioned at the beginning, the whole management team and training team. Do you feel like you're better prepared this time around?
100%. Before stepping into the unknown, now we know what 12 rounds is like. I know I'm fit enough to do it. I'm not going to be keeping some in the reserve tank just in case. So I'll go in there knowing that I do have what it takes to do 12 rounds, and you already know we're already planning to not make it last so long.
Fantastic. And obviously, this is a huge Wasserman show. Chief support, I believe, the Lyndon Arthur's IBO World Title Shot.
Yeah,
Another big stage for you to showcase your skills on. I'm sure you're excited at the prospect of that.
definitely. I think this is my second time fighting on Channel 5. This is my second fight for Wasserman, and it's a great platform. Channel 5 is a mainstream TV, so you can't beat that. Yeah, it's a good place to be if you want to solidify your name. If you want to be talked about when it comes to British boxing. I mean, fighting on Channel 5 is, you can't really top it, can you?
Yeah, I suppose you're going to get maximum viewing figures because it's free view TV, which I suppose is brilliant for you. But yeah, One thing I wanted to ask you, you mentioned there when you sat down with Adam, that you said you wanted to win the British title. When you first turned pro or first, got into boxing and knew that that was going to be a career path for you, what was the end goal? Was it something like a British title? Have you already exceeded it? Was it to win an English, an area title? Was it to become world champion? What was the end goal?
Yeah, turning pro, it was always world. I don't even think I had a clue about the Southern Area title or the English or the British. Actually, I stepped in there. I was kind of ignorant to it. I literally didn't know about the English Southern Area but it's the path that I've taken as I've become pro, and I've realized what steps you have to take. So I said it before, proving myself at each level. You can't go wrong at proving yourself at each level before you go into, before stepping to the next. So after challenging for it once, I said to Adam, I don't want to be known as a British title challenger. I have to be champion, and then move on to the next.
Absolutely, you're just right. How did the last for I don't know when this interview is going out, but we're filming this what about 3 weeks away, from fight night. How did the last few weeks look like for you here? When will your last spar be? When do you begin to taper down? And I suppose you won't have to put as much emphasis on making weight this time.
Exactly, yeah. So we'll probably have about uh 10 days out. Probably the last part might be 10 days or maybe a week out or somewhere around that time. Um, then we just focus on cutting the weight, which is not going to be too hard for this fight, obviously. So yeah, about 2 more hard weeks of training. I've really been pushing myself in the gym, and I'm gonna come in probably one of the best shapes I've come in before. We're at a weight higher now, so we're not going to be drained. We're going to be full of energy, and yeah, so another 2 more hard weeks, a taper off week or taper off 10 days. It's not going to be too hard in those last days. So who knows how long it's going to last? But yeah, it's not too bad at all.
And what would it mean? I think I asked you this before, prior to the Esselman fight. What would it mean to you personally to win that famous Lonsdale belt? We always hear fighters who have won it in the past saying that, that was the goal. That it was an unbelievable feeling. Do you think it will mean even more to you now? The fact that you've been in touching distance, but now they have the chance to do it again?
Yeah, I think it will definitely mean a lot to me just because it's the third belt of the trilogy. To become British champion now, it means I've conquered the British scene, and then we can move on to the next. But it's not the end goal. It's just I'd say it's the platform, to boost us into the next.
A question I just kind of wanted to ask you. I think I know the answer to this question, I think already, just from speaking to you for 15 minutes, but a lot of I've spoken to boxers before who talk about a lot of psychology and emphasis on their mental strength ahead of a fight. What would you say your mental state and psychological state is ahead of this title fight? Is this the best place you've ever been in pre-fight?
Yeah, it's completely relaxed. It's going there, kind of knowing the outcome. I have no doubt in my mind that we're leaving there with the British title. So, we're in a really good place. Training's going really well. Everything's going really well. I think this camp has been probably one of the most smooth running camps so far, just because of the management team. Everything's structured. There's been hardly any hiccups. Not much hurdles. So in a really good place going into this fight.
And finally, I have to ask you. I know what you're going to say, as you've alluded to it a few times before. But what can we expect? What are we going to see from Sam Antwi on Friday, September 1st, when you're fighting for the Super Welterweight British title?
Sensational performance, 100%.
Listen, Sam, appreciate it. Thanks for that. I really enjoyed that chat, and yeah, hopefully I'll speak to you again soon. After the fight with your British title over your shoulder.
100%, 100%, and I will speak to you soon. We'll do another one with the belt on my shoulder.
Brilliant, Sam. Thanks very much. Appreciate your time as always.